So this is my outline. Hi everyone, I'm Ty Miner. I'm a pre-dental major, and one question I wanted to start with is how many of you have had experience with social anxiety? It's something that I've dealt with, and I think a lot of people do experience. And so I wanted to talk about how self-disclosure and understanding can play a role in communication in my everyday life. And self-disclosure is when we share private information with others. We open up our innermost selves to them, and that's from our textbook, McCornack and Ortiz. And one of these points of self-disclosure is answering questions. When I was a kid, I would not like answering personal questions at all. And I found that, disclosing things about myself put me in a vulnerable position. And something that was asked of me pretty often was, what kind of music do you like? And I wouldn't like to tell people. And here's an example. I have a record of a Silverstein album that I have, and I've listened to Silverstein for a long time. And, I never really liked telling people that because it's a post-hardcore music group, and there's screaming, and some of the lyrics can be cringy, right? And so I didn't like to tell people this, but I realized that when I do self-disclose and tell people things about myself, it actually helped conversations move more cleanly and freely, and I got much more positive feedback from people, and people would also feel more comfortable disclosing things about themselves to me, and that would help keep the conversation moving. And choosing when to self-disclose is important. And there's times when you might think it's not acceptable to self-disclose, or you're afraid of disclosing something, but it really doesn't have to be something super core to yourself in order to be able to disclose something. You can disclose something that's on the periphery and allows people to get to know you better without being super personal. And disclosing with friends and family can be more personal, but regardless of how you're doing it, I think it really helps conversations move, and that has been my experience with social anxiety and self-disclosing. And moving on to understanding, this is a really important aspect that is combining visual and auditory information that we receive and try to make meaning out of that information. And this is from Open Education Alberta. And focusing on understanding, at least for me in my experience, has been really important on keeping my conversations moving when my social anxiety is blocking my understanding, because I'm thinking of things that aren't related to what that person is telling me. I'm thinking of personal thoughts that are blocking that understanding. And so when I'm focusing on what are they telling me, and how does that relate to their experiences, things that they've told me before, or things that relate to me, that allows me to respond a lot more effectively. And that's important for keeping conversations moving, and also just being easy to talk to. And using understanding to respond also results in a lot more depth in conversation because of this. And it allows me to be intentional and understand people for a better connection. So in conclusion, I use self-disclosure and understanding a lot in my personal life, and it has helped me overcome my anxiety by focusing on these things. And that's it. Thank you. Are there any questions?